Hello, everyone. Nice to see you arriving. Maybe as we're just waiting for everyone to join us, you could put your names and organizations in the chat. Nice to see who's with us today. Hi, Ken. Good afternoon, everybody. It's very nice to see you all here. Thanks for joining us. So just a few notes of housekeeping before we begin. I see many of you are already putting your name and affiliation in the chat. It's just great to see everyone who's here. So if you can do that, we'd appreciate it. You should know that the slide deck will be sent out to everyone who has registered today. So that will come to you either later today or tomorrow. When you begin to have questions, please use the Q&A function at the bottom, on the bottom bar. Use the Q&A section for any questions. It's hard for us to keep track of things if they pop into the chat because it often moves quickly. So if you use the Q&A section, then we won't lose any questions, and we will try. There are a number of us here who will try to answer as we go. Although I will say that almost everything will be answered in the webinar itself, but we are happy to take all questions. So please use that function all the way through and then again at the end. And just a note that the meeting is being recorded. So hello, everybody. Okay, let's go to the next slide. It's my pleasure today to welcome our community partner from Dance Resource Center, Rael Dorfman. Thank you for joining us today, and look forward to doing this together.
Thank you, Martha. We're delighted to be participating in this webinar alongside Californians for the Arts and Austin Creative Alliance. As Los Angeles's service organization and central source for local dance for more than 35 years, we are appreciative of Californians for the Arts' vigorous work, which elevates our field and continues to project our voices. CALPAYART is yet another example of Californians for the Arts moving best interest of arts and culture forward thoughtfully and productively. Thank you for collaborating with us in this capacity once again. DRC offers, or Dance Resource Center, offers an array of opportunities to enhance the work of Southern California's creative professionals. DRC services provide sustainable solutions for all genres of dance, all size companies and choreographers at any stages in career, so that artists can spend more time focused on creating and developing their skills and achievements in and for their respective communities. Convenings and workshops extend opportunities for the community to discuss current challenges in our sector while negotiating potential solutions. They cultivate collaborations to strengthen pivotal work across LA's broad landscape and provide access to vital resources to ensure healthy career longevity via programs such as Day of Dancer Health. DRC focuses on providing the community with crucial infrastructure support, such as marketing and promotional services, fiscal sponsorship, and by sharing relevant resources via our free weekly newsletter, LA Moves. DRC also offers unique opportunity platforms, which include a community calendar, member portal opportunities page, a comprehensive dance directory, and a marketplace. DRC's agile programming targets immediate and direct need, which in recent years has included an emergency fund at the onset of the pandemic and Homegrown. Homegrown supports creative development via free rehearsal space, residencies, and performance opportunities in collaboration with LA's finest institutions, which include the Music Center, Lula Washington Dance Theater, Fusion Performing Dance Academy, UCLA, and more. Southern California's dance community is unique, flexible, resilient, determined, resourceful, which is what drives DRC's vision and mission to enhance the profile of dance, and to help our community thrive in the art of business and in the art of dance. To stay current on all things dance in LA, sign up for our free weekly newsletter on our website, which is danceresourcecenter.org, as you can see on the slide, and on our social media pages. And with that, and without further ado, I pass the mic to the lovely Terry Ball.
Hello, everyone. First, I have to apologize. My laptop decided to celebrate the holidays by breaking, and so my video camera is not on. I'm not just being shy. I mean, my video camera is not working. It's not just that I'm being shy. So welcome. We're so glad that you're here today. LT, you can go to the next slide. We are very happy to be partnering on this project. I'm going to give you just a little bit of framework for the scorecard of who's who here. There's lots of different organizations involved. Californians for the Arts and Californians Arts Advocates are two statewide organizations. The first thing I like to remind people of is who we are not. We are not the California Arts Council. We are not the state arts organization, state arts agency. Californians for the Arts is your advocacy service organization for the arts in California. We are here to support you. We are here to advocate for you. And we are here to help you know how to advocate and sometimes when to advocate. As somebody who has run a small arts organization, in addition to my time with CFTA, for about 30 years, I know how hard it can be just to do your everyday job. It can be even more difficult to keep up with all of the issues going on in the state related to the arts and the advocacy things you need to be paying attention to. That's where Californians for the Arts comes in. We watch the full California Arts Council meetings and stay up on what's going on with legislation and are here to help you know what's going on and help you be a strong voice to advocate for your organization. Californians for the Arts is the 501c3 arm of our overall organization. We're actually two separate organizations. Californian Arts Advocates is the lobbying organization for the arts. So they are two separate. Importantly to know, you can be a member of one or both organizations, and we are a member-driven organization. We are able to do free services like help with CALPAYART, help with all of the state grant recovery grants that went on over the last couple of years. We are here, able to be here because of our members. So if you like what you see and you like what you do, come check us out and become a member. And with that, I think we will pass it to John from Austin Creative. I'm sorry, John. In addition to my video working, my brain is also not working today. So go, John.
Thank you, Terry. And hi, everyone. My name is John Reedy. I'm with Austin Creative Alliance. It's really a privilege to be here today. Next year, I'll celebrate 30 years in the arts sector. Yeah. And it has truly been a privilege to live my life among cultural workers. And that's what led me to this position today. And I'll tell you more about our organization and the things we do. Next slide, LT. As you can see, we're a 501c3. Our mission is to advance community-driven cultural work, connect resources to the cultural arts, music, and preservation sector, and advocate for the growth of sustainable cultural investment. Our values are service, inclusion, diversity, equity, accessibility, integrity, and accountability. We take them very seriously. Everyone on our team is a lifelong arts professional, and we came into this particular organization, this particular work, in the spirit of service. It's incredibly important to all of us here. And that's why, again, we're so excited to be able to grow our services. Next slide, LT. So we're almost a 50-year-old organization, originally begun as a theater service org. As you can see, about 15 years ago, in response to an Austin City cultural master plan, we renamed and adopted a new mission that was inclusive of all artistic disciplines. And then we grew into the work we're doing now pretty organically, again, in response to what our members were asking for and out of a spirit of service. So it began with us becoming a paymaster for Actors Equity, which is pretty complex work. And as we grew that work, we learned from the folks that we did that work for that they needed other things. And so that continued to grow organically until we became employer of record and producer of record. We also provide fiscal sponsorship, and we work with hundreds of emerging groups and hundreds of individual cultural workers in 24 states. So again, I just want to thank y'all for being here. I want to thank Californians for the Arts and Dance Resource Center for this privilege to let you know what we're up to. And with that, I'll throw it back to Martha.
You're muted, Martha.
Thank you, Terry. I was saying that before we jump into the nuts and bolts of the new Paymaster program, I'm going to take just a moment to talk about how we got here, mostly because I want to clarify a little bit of confusion that can arise around different components of arts legislation that have come up in the last couple of years. So back in 2021, Senator Susan Rubio introduced a bill. It was Senate Bill 805, which called for the creation of two programs. One was the Equitable Payroll Fund, which is a program designed to provide matching grants for payroll to small performing arts organizations. And the other was a nonprofit performing arts paymaster, the program we are here today to dig into that is now launching. This is a program to provide paymaster services to our organizations. So in 2021, the piece that was the piece that secured budget funding was the paymaster. The Equitable Payroll Fund, next slide, please. Then the Equitable Payroll Fund was not passed that year. However, there was budget set aside for the Nonprofit Performing Arts Grant program, which you may all know Terry Ball from. So that was sort of the intermediate stopping point as we continued to work on the Equitable Payroll Fund. Let's see, so let's move on. So the next year in 2022, the Equitable Payroll Fund piece was reintroduced as a new piece of legislation, SB Senate Bill 1116. And that bill was passed in that legislative session on September 29th. Next slide, please. But the Equitable Payroll Fund still wasn't funded. So this year in 2023, Senator Portantino submitted a budget request letter for $50 million to operationalize that program. That was not secured in the May revise, but we did get a reallocation of $11.5 million at the end of the legislative cycle in a trailer bill to implement the Equitable Payroll Fund. Next slide. So why do I go on about this? Well, the Equitable Payroll Fund and the Nonprofit Performing Arts Paymaster were designed with each other in mind. However, these two programs were split up when one was passed in 1 year and the other took 2 more years to get passed and funded. So we really are talking about two different things. Many people in talking about the Paymaster have asked questions like, well, when are we going to get our funding? The Paymaster is not a conduit for the Equitable Payroll Fund grants. So I just wanted to make sure that that was clear. The Paymaster is a service program at cost to help sustain our organizations and lessen the administrative burden of payroll. So if you're interested in that, let's go to the next slide. So how did we get here specifically around the Paymaster? Okay, $500,000 was appropriated. It went to the Arts Council. It went to the Arts Council to create the Nonprofit Performing Arts Paymaster. The California Arts Council issued an RFP looking for a nonprofit to establish and run this program. We responded, Californians for the Arts responded with Austin Creative Alliance. We weren't interested in getting into the business of building a paymaster service, so we looked for an existing nonprofit paymaster And we were very excited when we discovered and met with Austin Creative Alliance because our missions are so closely aligned. So together we submitted a response to the RFP. A month later or a little more, we were awarded, we received the notification of the intent to award our partnership. And then in June of this last year, the paperwork was finally finalized so that we could start work on this. So if you think about it, we got the money in the fall of 2021. Here we are late in the fall, early winter of 2023, about a 2-year timeline from funding to implementation. We're hoping with the Equitable Payroll Fund that has just received some funding to shorten that timeline to implementation. But for people who are wondering when those grants are going to start to come, I think we're probably looking at about a year. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Laura Wahlberg from Boston Creative Alliance to dig into the details of the Paymaster itself.
Thank you so much, Martha. And thanks everybody for hanging out. A lot of information's already kind of been fire hosed at you, and I've got more. So I'm going to try and take you through these next slides to help you understand exactly what a paymaster is and exactly what this program can do for you. But I'm not going to read through every slide. I'm going to allow you to do that on your own volition and try and make sure that I'm touching on the most important features. If we can jump into the next slide, we'll get going. Well, what exactly is a paymaster? Most of you at this point may already have a solution to satisfy your payroll needs. A paymaster acts as an extension of your existing administration. What we do is we kind of step in as and maybe you could even look at it as a temporary employee, shall we say, that actually manages the nuts and bolts of getting your payroll done, getting it set up, making sure things are paid, and all of that good stuff. A paymaster is also known as an employer of record. So what we do as a paymaster is we provide that implemented service that allows you to get your people paid through payroll without having to take on a lot of the burdens yourself. And if it's something that, if you are already executing payroll, it is something that you might want to consider looking into, because we've worked really, really hard with the Californians for the Arts to help kind of mitigate risk as well as cost for you. Next slide, please. Before I get into this, one of the things that I want to share with you is an acronym. Yes, I know, another acronym. We all have thousands of them and we don't even think about half of them. But as I'm talking to you today, I want you to understand that if I say the acronym DPA, that means Dedicated Paymaster Associate. Just want to make that slow and clear. DPA means Dedicated Paymaster Associate. Getting back to what we were talking about. With Austin Creative Alliance, our motto is we meet you where you are, in whatever capacity that is. So if you're an extraordinarily robust organization with a huge staff, we can help you. At the same token, if you are an organization that is run by complete set of volunteers, we can work with you there as well. We pride ourselves in being able to customize this service to our clients in whatever way they need. With that said, through this program, we provide payroll services that are available for any type of employee you might have: permanent, temporary, part-time, full-time, salaried, hourly, union, non-union, you name it. We can help make sure that they get paid on payroll correctly and on time. One of the things that is a little unique about this program is the program doesn't require that you do all of your payroll through the program. As I mentioned before, you may already at this point have a payroll solution that is working for you for, say, your long-term employees, your artistic directors, your box office managers, the people that are with you 24/7 throughout the year. But goodness gracious, if you go to do a production, your head's on fire. we're happy to step in whatever capacity that means. Means if you have your solution for your ongoing staff, great, awesome. But if you need help with your temporary folks, we're here for that as well. At the same token, we're also happy to take on the full responsibility of payroll for you. Truly, whatever you need. Next slide, please. I'm in talking and working with Martha and working with Californians for the Arts to build the program, we wanted to make sure that we have a very clear understanding between you employing a payroll company, a tool to use, or you investing in a paymaster service. Remember, this is a service. It's a partnership, a relationship with another entity to help you do some of these arduous tasks. Your organization hires a payroll company such as Gusto, ADP, Paychex, you name it. That is a tool that you have selected that your in-house personnel have to take time out of their day, not only to use, but to learn. Implementing a paymaster, your DPA already has that entire knowledge, and we have extremely wonderful technologies to be able to provide at your service. And we take care of it all for you. On the bottom line, we've illustrated that payroll execution and all associated pre and post activities reside in your house, meaning your people are responsible for carrying the burden of making sure that all of those activities get done correctly, let alone get done at all. Whereas working with a paymaster, your DPA takes care of the lion's share of those responsibilities for you. Next slide, please. We really wanted to make sure that we gave you a visual in order to help try and understand the difference. This Venn diagram really shows how your paymaster and your organization truly overlap, and your employees are sitting there nice and comfortable in the middle. In a paymaster relationship, whereas your organization, establishes and negotiates any and all contracts, as is your right, in addition to choosing and hiring who you employ, your paymaster administers the payroll specifications of those contracts that you've negotiated. We onboard your employees for you through our technology, so not only are we taking that responsibility off your plate, we're doing it electronically and securely. So there's no more killing trees. There's no more lost documents. There's everything. Your employee actually goes into our application and sets themselves up in whatever way that they want. Your paymaster issues all of the wages, pays all of the taxes, files all of the requisite reports on your behalf of every bit of payroll that you've done for your employees. Your organization, you still manage your workplace and conduct any requisite on-site trainings. On our side, we're taking the next step on payroll and making sure that proper deductions are applied and fulfilled. And this could mean absolutely anything. If you've established a pension plan for your people, if you've established a health plan, if you've established any kind of a benefit for any of your employees. If your employees are union-based and there are the requisite pension, health, and dues, your paymaster takes care of those for you. Additionally, on the back end, if there's anything in the way of wage garnishments that for your employee that the IRS might mandate, or if there's any sort of child care agreement that needs to be attached to somebody's, we literally manage all of those little things for your employees on your behalf. The one thing that's on the paymaster side that is not on your organization side is way down here at the bottom. Look near the employee feet. Your paymaster provides the workers' protection and administers all claims. That's workman's comp and unemployment. If your organization enters into a paymaster relationship, say with us through the program, your employees not only are paid through us, are all taxes and appropriate filings made for you, but on the back end, if your employees get hurt, your employees are covered under our workman's comp policy. If you have temporary employees that come in and out for shows and they file for unemployment, those employees, those claims are managed through us. So if your employee calls you and says, okay, I'm going to be going on unemployment, give me blah, 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 your only response is, go ahead and contact Austin Creative Alliance and they'll get you taken care of. Easy peasy, right? It's part of what this program is for, to help make your lives easier. Next slide, please. These next slides that we're going to be quickly going through is to give you a little bit more of a nuts and bolts. Now that you understand the difference between hiring a payroll company and you taking care of it all in-house versus partnering with a paymaster, let's talk about some of the nitty-gritty that a paymaster does. Next slide, please. In entering into the relationship with your DPA through your as your paymaster, information exchange is paramount. How do you talk to your DPA? How do your employees contact us in the event that they need anything? Well, guess what? Employees, they're automatically through the onboarding process, they have 24/7 access to the online portal wherein they can, when they set themselves up, they can go back and make changes at any time that they like. So they never have to call you and say, I need to update my withholding, or I just changed my name. Any of those things. All they need to do is go into their profile in our payroll system and update it themselves. So they've got 100% ownership of their personal information. On the employer side, employers, depending on the needs of the employer and the workflow that you would develop with your DPA, you would not only have access to the payroll system as needed, but you also have the opportunity to participate in a little beta test that we're doing. In ramping up for this program, we wanted to be able to provide a secure online portal for all of the CalPayArt clients. And so we worked with a designer and a programmer to help develop an online secure portal that would help facilitate document exchange. Now, when I say document exchange, I'm talking about copies of your paid invoices, payroll reports on any payroll that's been executed on your behalf, things like that. When we're talking about other information that you might be familiar with, say employee information, pay stubs, because your employees are technically now our employees that we are paying on your behalf, we don't share their pay stubs. We don't keep their personal information anywhere else but within our payroll system. We do this 100% strictly to make sure that we are protecting their personal information as sacrosanct as you would want your personal information secured and safe. Next slide, please. Your DPA will partner with you and act as an extension of your existing administration, just like I mentioned before. They will not only be working with you onboarding into the program, but on an ongoing basis. So they will work with you to help establish your payroll needs in whatever form that is at the onset. And then as your organization evolves, grows, changes, whatever, they are your partner. They know you. You don't have to go through and reinvent the wheel. They will help make sure that any changes that you need to do get taken care of as you need them. With regards to the administration of your payroll, salaried employee payroll is run on whatever pay cycle or cycles are determined by you. Salaried employees do not require your ongoing payment, or excuse me, not payment, your ongoing approval to execute. Our job is to make your job easier. So we are trying to help streamline that process. At the same token, on the flip side, you've got hourly employees. Absolutely. You as the employer client are going to want to approve those hours before we pay them out for you. Guess what? Your people on your team, whoever you deem responsible to approve those hours, will have direct access into our technologies to approve those timesheets right there in the system. No more spreadsheets, no more papers flying around. It's all done in the system because we want the technology to be able to work for you and help streamline your part in the process as much as possible. Next slide, please. Your DPA, as I mentioned before, they will ensure that all employee tax deductions are applied, wage garnishments as applicable are applied, union dues, pension plan, health plan. Your DPA, your dedicated paymaster associate, is there to do this work for you. So your people can be off creating, doing the things that they were originally hired for. Through the program and as a paymaster, final wages are always going to be direct deposited as defined by your employees into one or more bank accounts that they themselves determine. And again, just like the personal information, they can change that information at any time without any interference with paperwork or tying up your time. We take care of all of that. If your employee is averse to direct deposit, they are more than welcome to have hard checks delivered. We just make sure that whenever those folks do onboard themselves, we make sure that they know that there is going to be a little bit of a delay in receiving their payroll because the U.S. Postal Service is the U.S. Postal Service. Okay? Easy peasy. Next slide, please. A paymaster on an ongoing basis not only runs the payroll, but we calculate the federal, state, and local employer taxes as needed, and we remit payment to those appropriate agencies. Not only do we remit the payment on your behalf, but we also make sure that all requisite filings are also filed on your behalf for the employees that you are paying. At the end of the year, we issue all of your employees their W-2, and those W-2s come from us. And part of the reason why I mention that is because the more organizations that are using the CalPayArt program, if you've got performers that are moving from company to company, they do one job here, they do another job there. And if those companies are both using the paymaster, the same paymaster, us, CalPayArt, they receive one single W-2 at the end of the year for all of the work that they did with all of those organizations that all happened to be using the CalPayArt paymaster. So it's an added bonus for your employees at the end of the year. They're only chasing down one document, which, by the way, is also available in their portal along with all of their pay stubs. Next slide, please. As I mentioned before, your paymaster will manage all workers' protections and claims. Workman's comp and unemployment can be an absolute nightmare. Your show is over and you have these things lingering. Well, guess what? Long and the short, your paymaster handles all of that. When we hire your employees on your behalf, they are protected under our workman's comp. And just to clarify any questions around this, the workers that are covered under our workman's comp and are managed through us for any unemployment are only employees that has had their payroll run through us. So going back to what I mentioned earlier, wherein I said, the program doesn't require you to do all of your payroll through us. That's where a difference comes in. If you choose not to run all of your payroll through us, you will still be required to hold on to your own workman's comp policy. And any of those employees that are not paid through us, you would be responsible for managing those unemployment claims. But back in the paymaster side, any employees that are paid through us are covered with our workman's comp and our unemployment. Oh my goodness, I'm starting to get a little tongue-tied too. Before I jump off of this, please understand that Workman's comp and unemployment is something as on a pay-as-you-go basis. So you're not billed a huge chunk of something at one time a year that you just sit on. You are billed as you go throughout the year. So if you're only coming into us for temporary engagements, you're only paying for those things through those temporary engagements. Next slide, please. As my CEO earlier mentioned, union agreements can be really tricky. I myself am a union member of a couple of unions, and I know firsthand exactly how tricky these things can be. In fact, that's part of what brought me to this work myself. Our DPAs are very well versed in most union agreements. We are versed enough in union agreements across the board that if we've not worked with a particular union, we ramp up really, really fast. In fact, in preparing for not only this webinar, but building this program, we've been working with Californians for the Arts to set up meetings with various union officials throughout the state of California to not only introduce ourselves to them so that they know who we are, but to make sure that we're having conversations with them to better understand their applications with you. So we've already started having those conversations, okay? At the bottom of this particular slide, there is a note about producer of record. There are a couple of unions that require that if you are working with a paymaster, that the paymaster is the signator on those contracts that you've negotiated. That's called providing producer of record services. We don't do it as a regular service, but if it is ever needed at any time by any union, we are more than happy to provide that service at no extra cost to you. It is fully a part of the package that this program brings to you. Next slide, please. Next slide. Thank you. And now for the great big question, how much does this service cost? As Martha mentioned earlier, we worked very, very hard to make sure that we are coming to the table to provide you an at-cost service. Let's just jump right in and start looking at some of the details, okay? Next slide. Should you choose to join the program, there is a one-time lifetime registration fee of $100. That establishes your organization throughout all of our paymaster systems. If you are a pre-existing organization, you don't have to pay it again. And what I mean by one-time lifetime is if you come on board into the program to say, do your next show that starts in January. Great, happy to have you. Call us and our DPAs will get you set up. But you're not really ready to do anything long-term much past that. You just want to dip your toe in the water. Super. Call our DPAs. We'll get you hooked up. But the thing is once your show's over, say a month after that, or a year after that, 5 years after that, then you decide to come back and use the paymaster services again because you realize your staff is downsizing and you really need the help, or whatever the reason. You are never asked to pay that $100 ever again. Once you are in your systems, in our systems, you are there for the lifetime of your organization. And as a bonus, Californians for the Arts is granting this fee to the first 250 participants into the program. So after this webinar, we highly recommend that you please come to our website, fill out our intake form, get yourself into the queue. There's no rush, there's no time limit, but make sure you get yourself into the queue because we want to talk to you about these things, okay? Once you're established into our systems, you will always, always, always be invoiced for whatever work we do for you. Never will we ever ask for your bank information. Never will we be requesting that we auto debit any monies out of your bank accounts. You will always be invoiced, and on your invoices, you will see the items that we've got bulleted here. gross wages, taxes, workman's comp cost, unemployment cost, employer contributions to any benefit plans as applicable. And at the bottom will always be the program fee. The program fee is 5% of gross wages, plus a nominal hard cost of payroll processing fee, which is $5 per active employee per payroll period. On the bullet about unemployment insurance, there is a little asterisk after that. The asterisk is a particularly novel little thing that the CalPayArt program is going to be able to do for you. If you are an existing organization within the unemployment machine of California, you already have an SUI rate. Well, guess what? In joining on the program, if your SUI rate is 6.1% or higher, you will only ever be charged the capped 6.1% for the program. On the flip side of that, if your SUI, current SUI, is less than 6.1%, the program will meet you at your existing SUI upon presentation of proper documentation, of course, but we will meet you where you are at, and that is the SUI that you will be charged for the lifetime that you exist with the program. Next slide, please. As I mentioned before, how do we pay? You will always be invoiced, and we will never be asking you to automatically debit any of your accounts. You have 100% full control over your cash flow. In trying to build a program that is going to meet you where you are, we've kind of identified two different buckets of payroll needs. We've got the long-term staffing that I've mentioned before, and then we've got what we refer to as the production paymaster services. These are the temporary payroll needs that are usually around shows or teaching engagements, wherein an artist would come into payroll and then have to leave fairly quickly. With production paymaster services, traditionally, paymasters collect the anticipated payroll for that particular project in advance to be able to get payroll started for whomever is being paid on that engagement. From that payment, all wages, taxes, workers' protections, all of that is paid out of that bucket. Now, we understand that this is a very different way of doing things. Please rest assured, your DPA will work with you. If paying everything up front is just simply not feasible for your organization at this time, your DPA will work with you to create a payment plan to help make sure that cash is on hand in order to be able to pay your employees on time. Now, in our other bucket, our long-term staffing paymaster services, we would never ask you for an entire year's worth of salary up front. That's just insane. What we do with that is we calculate an estimated payroll cost for 1 to 1.5 months. Look at it as a deposit. Some people refer to it as a bond. It's really an advance to get your payroll started. And then every month thereafter for your long-term employees, you will be invoiced for exactly what was run the prior month. No matter which bucket of paymaster services you do choose to go with. If at any time you choose to cease services, say the plug got pulled on your show, or your artistic director has decided to move on to another organization. Whatever the case, your DPA will work with you, just like always, hand in hand, to audit whatever monies you have resting with us and make sure that you get a full refund of any unused funds. Okay? So with that said, I'm going to point out there is no contract term to use these services. You are not beholden to sign up for an entire year or a month. You come in and leave as you need. Okay? Let's go to the next slide. Those are all the major broad strokes, and I'm sure you have all been thinking about all the little nuances of how you've been doing things or how you've been wanting to do things, or you just don't know. Organizations are coming to us from all ranges of the spectrum. We're here to help. Please call us. Let our DPAs talk to you to help you make an educated decision as to whether or not a paymaster service is right for you. It's no cost to you to do so. We are here to help. No matter how long that takes, no matter how difficult or unique your circumstances, our people can help you make that determination. This program is here to provide you a paymaster service, execute your payroll, make sure that your employees have secure access and their information is sacrosanctly protected. We handle your onboarding. We work with you to make sure that hours are taken care of and everybody gets paid and benefits get paid out, all of the great things. At the bottom of this slide are a few things that we really didn't talk about, but these are items that typically get charged more. As I mentioned before in our cost, it is a flat 5% of gross wages, plus the $5 processing fee. Many other paymasters, and especially payroll companies, if they even provide these services to you, all tend to be charged extra for on top of those fees. All of these things that you see listed on the bottom of the screen here are all 100% wrapped up in the package. We will never ever nickel and dime you for, oh, this service, that service. We've worked really hard with Californians for the Arts to create a program that is not only going to meet you where you are, but help make sure that we are doing everything we can to keep an eye on your bottom line. So with that, I'm going to stop rambling on and repeating myself, and I think it's time to turn it back over to Martha. If we can go to the next slide really quick, I think we're in a good place to throw out some QA here. Yeah?
Absolutely. So we have some great questions here, Laura. Many of my clients / venues require a waiver of subrogation from my workers' comp carrier. Can we get a waiver of subrogation from CalPayArts?
Yes.
Good.
Easy.
I know the answer to this, but just so that everyone hears it, I'm repeatedly told that California has stronger worker protections than most other states. Have you worked in California before? Are you prepared for these extra requirements?
We've been working in California for, well, we've been providing paymaster services for nigh on 20 years now of our 50-year existence, and we've been in California for the last 16. We are not tax lawyers, we are not CPAs, we are a paymaster. We are very familiar with a lot of everything that's going on, but I would not say that we are the be-all end-all expert. Our DPAs will work with you to make sure that we are adhering to everything that we can, that needs to be adhered to. So when I say our DPA will work with you, it's you are there on the ground in California. The more information that you are sharing with your DPA, the better off we all will be. It is truly a partnership. I cannot stress that enough. So I hope that answers your question.
Certainly does. Is this similar to a PEO, a professional employment organization?
It's been compared to a PEO. The big difference with a PEO is that you select whoever you want to work for you. Normally with a PEO, there's a stable of folks that they represent that you choose from. That is not this at all. But similar to a PEO or even an employment agency, Your people are paid through us. You provide the funds to pay the people that you've selected, and we take care of everything. Make sense?
Yeah. So there are a few pieces in this one. How does using
Make it
this
slow.
how does using this service impact the official number of employees that the organization has, and what is the impact on compliance requirements? For example, some ordinances kick in or change their requirements at different employee count thresholds. For example, this percentage for companies with 10 to 50 employees, this other percentage for companies with 50 plus employees. If we're paying people through a paymaster, do these employees count toward our totals for those compliance calculations?
In my experience, there are a wide array of these ordinances and how things fit in. I'll try and address this as generally as I can without knowing specifics about where this question might have come from or what specific ordinances you might be talking about. The employees that you've selected are your employees. They are your number of employees. So I'm sorry, I'm getting
No,
a
no,
little
no. I mean,
off
you
my
would
head.
still report all these employees on your 990, even though
Thank
you're
you.
the employer of record. We are still the employees. I'm sorry, we are still the employers.
Yes. So this, I understand that there can be a lot of confusion around the line between the paymaster and the employee. That's part of the reason why we threw the Venn diagram in our presentation today, that you will get a copy of this after the webinar is over, by the way. So you do have access to understand that. Your DPA will work with you to help make sure that you fully understand exactly where that line is between your paymaster's responsibility and your responsibility.
And the short answer is, for various regulations, the number of employees you have does not change. Just because somebody else is the employer of record, you're still the employer. So if you have 50 employees, you still have to meet those regulations.
Thanks, Terry.
Terry, I am always amazed at how well you are able to take whatever's in my brain and condense it down so succinctly. I love it. Thank you.
Glad to help. Next.
Is this service built on top of an existing payroll engine like ADP?
Our organization uses Paycor to provide our paymaster services. So if any of you are familiar with that particular platform, it's the exact same thing. We actually, in ramping up to build this program, we interviewed a number of new companies, and we went with Paycor because they are considered a younger company, but they are also extraordinarily responsive to be able to adapt to the needs of their clients. And they've been working super hard to make sure that in working with us, that they are making things as, well, I might be dating myself by saying this, Gumby-like as possible. We know that you are all unique and different organizations, and every single one of you has your own way of doing things. Working with a paymaster is not you trying to, we're not going to try and shoehorn you into a specific mold. Whatever your payroll needs are, in whatever way you've decided they need to be for your organization, we will work with you to help make sure that we execute it as you need it.
You would also say that Paycor, that you have been able to custom build the capabilities needed for this program so that we don't have to do that.
Absolutely. We are still doing all of that legwork. As new customers are coming on, we are expanding the scope of what this tool is able to do with us, for you. It's really been quite an amazing journey working with them this past year.
We go through a workers' comp audit every year. Would we no longer have to do that? Would our participation be reduced, or is it still on our plates?
If you are doing all of your payroll through the program, it's off your plate. I get to do that for you personally. But if you are, as I mentioned earlier, if you are only doing part of your payroll with us, you will still be responsible for the workers that are covered under your workman's comp through whatever payroll device you've been using.
Are 401k contributions handled by the paymaster?
Absolutely.
I think that this has probably been answered. I'm just going to leave that actually, because that was all presented and answered. I think that, oh, are there types of organizations that are not a good fit and or eligible for this paymaster service?
Martha, I'll let you field that one with regards to the eligibility. Suddenly can't say the E word, eligibility.
I will deal with the eligibility. Yep. So this program is set up, as we know, for nonprofit performing arts organizations. However, if you are an arts or a nonprofit arts organization, not specifically in the performing arts, but you would like to use a paymaster, yes, this program will be open to you. If you are not a nonprofit, Austin Creative Alliance will be able to help you, but this program will not be able to help you. On the other hand, if you are an individual, so technically a for-profit, but practicing the performing arts, you will be eligible for these paymaster services as well. So there's some expansion here that is possible. The $100 grant that will help organizations onboard, that can only be tapped by nonprofit organizations, because this is money coming from the government grant, and it was earmarked for nonprofit organizations. So if you're an individual securing the services, you can work under a CalPayArt, but you just would not be eligible for that $100 grant. And then in terms of, are there types of organizations that are not a good fit? I mean, that's where you have a conversation with the service providers at CalPayArt, and it's in the chat where you can sign up to meet with someone. I think you'll have to do your own comparisons, look at the amount of time that you spend in payroll, look at how burdensome you find that administration, how burdensome you find the administration of unemployment claims and workers' comp claims, look at the cost of the paymaster compared to your costs, both internally and externally, and make the best. Oh, I see a hand.
It's just me, Martha. I just wanted to step in and kind of reiterate, in our 20 years of service as paymaster, we've never run into an organization that we couldn't help. So yes, there are guidelines and restrictions around this particular program. Absolutely. That comes with being a government seated funded entity, but that doesn't mean that we can't help you. If for some reason you find that you don't get to fall within the scope of services for this specific program, that doesn't mean that we can't help you.
I think part of the question also, though, was, are there some organizations that it's not a great fit for? There are some organizations out there that maybe their existing situation works out better for them than making the change. Like any other service, nothing is perfect for everyone. That was
exactly
part of their question.
Exactly, Terry, and I'm glad you brought it up, because I've alluded to it a few times here, and I don't think I've been pounding that message home if this question's coming up, is a paymaster service can be a great solution. But as Terry said, it is not necessarily the be-all end-all solution for everyone. Calling us and talking to our DPAs will help you make the educated choice as to whether or not a paymaster relationship is the right thing for you. And we're not here to sell. And as I mentioned before, having this conversation is at no cost to you at all. We're here to help. And that means, if it means that you talk to us and it just doesn't seem like it's going to work out for you, fine. We're still here. If you ever change your mind at the end of the, at the end of the year, we'll always be here.
There's an interesting question that was just put into the chat. Into the Q&A. Are non-paid board members, and I would also add volunteers to this, covered by the workers' comp? Is there a way to get your non-paid people covered by the workers' comp, or is it strictly the people that are on payroll?
It is strictly the people that are on payroll. I wish I could say differently, but our workman's comp and unemployment services are strictly attached to our payroll service.
Here's a great question. I hire actors, teaching artists, the artistic director, set designers, and builders. These are all very different workers' comp classifications. Some are very expensive. How do you cover everyone at 5%?
That's what we do. Our workman's comp percentage has been at 5%, not only for this program, but for all of our paymaster services for years. The reason why we're able to do that is because we're not just hiring these actors and designers for ourselves. Because we are working in bulk, because we are acting as the employer of record for the organizations that we do, we're able to keep that at 5%. We do an annual audit every year, just like everybody else on our workman's comp. And in the 20 years that we've been doing this, we've never had to change that 5%. So we're able to bring that 5% to this program with full confidence that we don't really anticipate a whole lot of changes.
Economy scale.
Yeah.
Okay, we are at time. I don't know if you have any extra time, Laura, but I think we've covered all of the questions. There is one that I'm going to kind of paraphrase, and that's somebody who says they have a full-time artistic director, but for a variety of reasons, they get paid different things, different months. I assume that it's not a problem when payrolls change from payroll session to payroll session.
Your DPA will be able to work out all of those arrangements. That's not a problem.
I
Okay.
also am going to throw in one last one because I think this is very important. Sherry Dorfman asks, what is the earliest date that a California organization can commence services? And I see there was an answer immediately. There are companies that have already been onboarded. That is true. The Paymaster has launched. However, we do have a little bit of a bottleneck right now because so many organizations have requested onboarding sessions, or at least discussions with the service providers. So we just would, that's I think why Laura was really encouraging everybody to get in the queue right now if you have interest to investigate, because there will be a small delay as we work to get through all of the applicant organizations. Have I said that correctly, Laura?
We're trying to meet everybody in the order that they've come in. And so that's the only thing that I would say in addition to that. When you fill out your intake form on our website, which I believe Martha's put that link into the chat a few times now today, there is a space to tell us about your needs, to tell us about all of those emergent things. And if we can, we will be there to step up. I say that only to not make any promises, but that's how we do things. Is we've got two guidelines. We're meeting everybody in the order that they've come in so that no one gets cuts in line, shall we say, to coin a phrase. But we do know that there are some emergent issues, and we will try and step up to meet those as best as we can.
Well, that's terrific. I just want to thank you all for joining us today. Rael for partnering with us on this, and all our crew who are answering questions. I have been particularly interested and impressed by the questions today, and I hope that you have found the information helpful. You can always, the jot form is in the chat that you can use to request a discussion with the CalPayArt service providers. You can also go to the Californians for the Arts websites and use the little inquiry button there. If you've got specific questions that we didn't get to, I'm happy to take those questions, and those come to me directly. So plenty of avenues to continue to get questions answered as you investigate whether this is a good solution for your organization. Thanks, everybody. Did you have something that you wanted to say in closing, Rael? No. All right, then. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for having us. And if anybody wants to reach out to us, we will forward your inquiries to Martha's team as needed.
Thanks so much, everybody. Hope everyone has a great night.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.